Sorry.
Is that better?
Yes.
Yeah, that's much better. We had a big old thing. Welcome to blah 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 community guidelines and more. All right, we should be live. We don't have any people on, but we are live.
So there's an ad.
You can turn that volume off.
One is watching. Well, that's okay. I just wanted to see if
Turn the
it
volume off.
was.
So, all right.
3 people are watching.
Hi everybody. We're just getting set up here. So it looks like we have a few people. Looks like we have like 10 people. So if you could, if you're receiving this and the sound sounds okay and everything, go ahead and comment and let us know that everything is okay. Oh, yep, there's somebody. Hi. Hi, Shy Nickel. How are you? How is the audio and the video? Does it look okay and sound okay? Oh, we got the heat on. Let me turn the heat off. Holy cow. Sorry. It's
snowing right now.
Snowing outside, yeah. So it's really cold, and we had the heat on in the garage. So let me turn it down.
That helps.
Is that better? Probably sounds a little better, huh?
Yeah. I'm not seeing any video on this one, but who knows what the...
There we go. 2, 1. Okay, great. That's that. All right. Hi, Carl. Steve. Even the video. What are you saying, Steve? You said even the video. What is it? What is it? Is it working okay?
Hi, Steve.
Heidi's trying to pull it up, so we want to make sure we get a roll.
I'm not seeing us yet.
There's all the comments. That's all we need.
But we have comments.
Okay, that's all we need.
Great.
All right, so let's see. So the right time, didn't miss anything. Yep. Happy
Yay, we have somebody here from Sydney.
Thank
Yay.
you. Yep. Yes, typos before. Oh, gotcha. Okay. So the audio and video sound okay, or look okay and sound okay, everyone? Is it looking okay? Just want to make sure you can hear us.
Yeah, we had to clean off the lens on my phone. So it was bad. All right, there's Tim.
A few more people to kind of, oh yeah.
Hi, Tim.
So, yeah, so I can't tell though if our audio is coming through. Can you say something as Ozzy?
I can't. Well, yeah.
Just ask everyone. This is Heidi. This is Heidi.
Audio.
Yeah, we just want to make sure it's working right. Okay. Looks and sounds good. Okay, great. Okay, well, that's good. Okay, that's all we need to know. Yay. Okay. All right. Well, okay, so let's go ahead and get started. We have like 20-ish people or something.
Dive right into.
We're going to dive right into
why we have not been putting out videos.
Why we haven't put anything out.
The singular week.
Right. So it's not for lack of trying.
Right.
So what we wanted to do in this live stream was just to address why exactly that, why things have slowed down a bit.
Right.
And they haven't in the background, but they have sort of in the foreground for what you guys have been seeing.
Right.
And me, I'm super bad about updating Instagram, and I need to do that more. Totally, that's on me. That's a growth area for me. But Instagram is.
Yeah.
So here's the deal.
It is a growth area for her.
Yeah.
I would agree.
So here's the deal. You saw in the last video, I put the suspension together for the 308 for the front right wheel. Awesome. Everything went together. It looked great. It was great. Now we still have a lot more to do. You just saw the spindle sticking out. Mm-hmm. So I have brake parts, and we finally got the new bearings, and we're all set with that. But what I wanted to do, and I think I said it at the end of the video, was now I want to work on the right rear wheel. So I set up for that for the next weekend. I laid everything out.
She truthfully did.
And it's still sitting up there.
Right.
I had everything all laid out, and I thought, I'm missing one piece. What am I missing? Oh, the shock. So I'm like, duh. So I went over to the big box that we got from the people who rebuilt the shock, pulled it out, and covered it and uncovered the whole thing and unwrapped it because I hadn't taken them out of the packaging yet. Oh, and wouldn't you know, that shock was sitting in a pool of oil.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh, no, no way. So yeah, it was totally soaking wet. So
So
that
of
whole
course,
shock was just soaked.
the one who's responsible for getting parts, Franny's like, Heidi!
Yes, I'm like, oh no, like, Heidi, come look at this. So right at that point, I had to stop and went ahead and unboxed the other two, the ones on the left
Right.
side of the car.
Right.
And we found one dry one and one soaking wet
We
one.
did film it. We did.
Right. So we got footage of it. We'll
Mhm.
show you in an upcoming episode what's
Right.
going on with that.
We'll decide when to release that.
Yeah. So here's the deal. We don't want to make a fuss about it right now because
Mhm.
the company we're working with has been very cool about it.
Very cool.
Yeah,
Yes, they
I
paid
sent-
for return shipping.
Yes.
They immediately took it back.
Yep.
They're testing it now. So yeah, we don't
Yeah.
want to be like bad mouthing any companies.
No, they were. I sent them the video and talked to them about it, and they're like, "Oh my God, send those back right this minute." So, and I'm like, "All four?" And they're like, "Of course, all four." And so that meant I had to pull the stock out of the front right wheel and disassemble that thing again and get it back out again. So it was about probably half the work
Yeah.
because I still had to take a bunch of stuff apart to get it out. So
Yeah, and that's just one of the stories. So, and these are not stories as in like making them up. These are stories as what's happened.
yeah. So you want to talk about the next one?
Well, okay, so you might have seen some of the plating that we got done, and I don't know if we've already mentioned this, but
Well, it's
we
just one
had-
of the things that slowed us down.
right. So
Sure.
we were missing some parts, which
Mhm.
was one of the things that we had actually put were a couple of little remaining ones for the 911 actually. And so Franny was like, "Oh, I could do that," and then she's like, "Oh, I
I'm
can't
missing
do
some
that."
parts.
So she couldn't even do a 911 video. And then
No.
there was so I was like trying to get backup stuff so that while we were waiting on Ferrari parts and stuff like that, I put in an order with Auto House to get some of our turbos. So we would really like to do some 996 content. And I thought I checked with Franny about
Bits and bobs
driver
like
versus
this.
passenger
This piece here.
side. And I thought, I said, so sure that it's the correct side. And then of course, Franny starts the video and it's the wrong side.
Right.
So it's not been
right.
I really am behind all the part stuff, and it's not been a good month or maybe a good
It's
year.
okay. It's fine.
And we have all these
It's fine.
delays from COVID anyway. So, and
Yep.
it's like, it was really bad last year, but stuff supply chain wise are still very frustrating, and especially in the specialty market. And that's not it. There's even another problem that happened, and that was, we were looking to get some other just parts for all the suspension work on the Ferrari, and I put in an order, and normally it would have been about maybe a week turnaround, but we had some special ones that had to come all the way from Italy.
Yeah, so these
I
are
kept
these
following
are
up with this other company,
Yeah.
and they finally got us those parts. So I think, do we finally have
yeah.
those?
So those are the bolts to hold on the brake calipers.
Mhm.
I didn't want to reuse the originals because I found a little bit of rust right on the top of the shank, right below the head of it, right in there. And I thought, that's a bad place for rust. And it cleaned right off, and they looked okay, but a lot of cars, like I know for Porsches and things, those bolts stretch, and they really would rather you didn't reuse them anyways. So they're bespoke, I guess. You probably could have gotten a bolt, kind of probably any kind of normal bolt. But anyway, we wanted to order the correct one, so we did. And they ordered only 2 of them, and we needed 4. So that took a while to get that, and it's just been kind of a thing. So we've had those parts. So in the like Heidi was saying about the 996 parts, those were for the wrong side of the car. So it seems like every time I come out here to do something, I can't do it. And
Right.
I do now have all the bits and bobs for the bearings and all that brake work and stuff on the front wheels, but I don't want to do that until I've got the suspension in. So
Yeah, it's been kind of
it's been a thing.
frustrating. And, we do have other work to get done, like 996 work and even the 356. So we'll probably get into that while we're waiting on some of these other things.
Yep.
And, I was just telling Franny, I'm like, man, I'm like so glad that we're not like Radarosa, we're just into Ferrari stuff, because I can't imagine how frustrating his stuff
Oh,
must be.
yeah.
And no wonder he has like 4 or 5 Ferraris apart at once, because the delays on the Ferrari stuff are just crazy.
Yeah. Scott's been working really hard,
Right.
believe it or not, on
Yeah.
that 512, but it's just so much work in the background that
I'm sure.
these projects just stop, literally stop.
Right.
Everyone has the
Yeah.
same problems. Even Tavares has problems like this.
Right.
Those guys who can, call up somebody and they're all stepping all over each other to get them parts, and it's still difficult. So, but we'll get there. We'll get there. We are hoping the shocks will come back maybe in about a weekish or so. They put them at the top of the line.
They're supposed to be at the top.
Yeah, there was one part, the cap on the bottom, so that holds the spring at the very bottom. When I looked at them when they came back, they had been cleaned, but they were still just bare steel. And I thought, that's just going to rust. And so when I talked to the guys about it, I was like, while you're at it, can you plate that? Do you normally plate that? And they're like, yeah, we'll send it off to the plater. And that costs us another week. So
It costs us more money too.
yeah, probably.
So
yeah, we're not big enough to really cause a fuss with these companies.
Right.
So we end up paying full boat for all this stuff. I'd love to say that we don't, but we do. So any rate, so that's kind of the state of affairs, and that's where things are in the garage. Other than that, the cars are running well.
Yep.
We've been out driving, believe it or not, the 356 quite a bit.
We have.
Yeah, we had a couple of people visit the garage.
Oh, that's right.
Yes,
we did.
we
Right.
did.
We had some patron.
Yeah,
visits
we had
and
a
stuff
couple
like
of
that.
patron visits, and we
Right.
went out for rides and
Right.
stuff. So
it was fun.
yeah, 356 has been getting driven.
Yep.
And
Any
running
patrons that
well.
are on right now, if you haven't visited the garage, come and visit our garage.
Yeah,
for sure.
please do.
Yeah, it's
That's-
been fun.
So, and of course the i8 over here, which is right over there, gets driven. Heidi
Got driven today.
Got driven today. So
And
Heidi
go get
drives that.
groceries.
Yep. And
Yep.
the 996, which is back there.
Yep,
Gets
that's
driven
my
a
other
lot.
daily driver.
Yeah.
I drive
So-
that a lot too. And Franny never goes anywhere. She's just always editing or
It's
filming.
just kind of busy all the time.
She
Well,
really
let's look
doesn't go anywhere.
Look at some of the questions. And,
Right.
looks like we got a few top
gotcha.
chats. Oh, that's very.
Thanks,
Oh,
Tim.
thanks so much, Tim.
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
that's so nice of you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, so
All right.
yeah, let's get to some of these comments
Well,
now
we
that
had, we had a couple that came in. What were the comments that came in from the posts?
Oh, yes.
Do you want?
Gotcha.
Do you want to see those?
Yeah, let me pull those up.
Anyway.
I was just gonna read some of these.
Yeah. So we'll go ahead and answer. We did put out a little thing saying
Right.
if you got any questions, let us know. And honestly, I kind of blanked.
So I'm just gonna run through these real quick, and then I will pull up the questions.
Okay. Well, let me see if I can.
So Shy Nichols said hello. Steve Mansfield, Carl, Tim Finley, Michelle Crown, Jerry Pedersen, Steve and Tim Finley, and thank you for your super chat, Steve, and JC Forst, Carl Verren, David Parazek. Sorry if I'm butchering some of these names. Richard Rogers, Ozzy and Zeke is on. How about that?
Ozzy and Zeke is on. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, Matt M, and then Jerry again, Alex Barrera, and Daryl Thomas from Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Yay.
And oh my, there's somebody else whose name Mahir Meli Goons in Turkey. Wow. And
Yeah.
it's 4 a.m. My goodness.
It's 4 a.m. in Turkey, and you're oh,
Wow, good for
that's
you.
so sweet. Thank you
Good
very,
for
very
you.
much.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I do
Right.
have this one question. So,
Okay.
on the post that we did on YouTube, it just had a dotted circle saying what's missing, and obviously it was the shock that was missing. So a bunch of people wrote in about that, that was great. And then Marcus D asked me, said, not sure if this question are to be specific, but my question is more to Franny. And what is your profession, and how did you get into car repair? So I get this asked a lot. So my training is in engineering and aerospace. So I went to University of Florida and got a degree in aerospace engineering, but I only worked in the business for a few years, and then branched out and started doing printed circuit board layout stuff and then computer programming. So this is what I still do now. So that's kind of my training out of the way. But along the way, I had Oh my gosh, none of my cars really were in very good shape at all, and I had a lot of Volkswagen Beetles, and so just a ton of work learning those and learning through John Murr's book. And then when we got the Porsches, it was the same sort of thing, hauling out the different service manuals for them and starting on smaller projects and working to bigger ones. And honestly, when we pulled the engine out of the 3.2 Carrera, that was the very first time I'd ever pulled an engine out of a Porsche before. So that was exciting. Well, except for the 356, we'd had the engine out, but that's really easy.
We
4
had
bolts.
it out many times.
Yeah,
because
we've had
of
it
the
out 3
clutch.
times.
Yeah.
So it's really
Clutch
more a
problems.
matter of just kind of digging into things and having the confidence to, to just go at it yourself. And it's not all that difficult, really. People put these things together and they were designed to be put together for the most part, looking at you there, Ferrari. But for the most part, cars are designed to be put together. So they usually come apart reasonably methodically, I'll put it that way. And most of the problems you run into are stuck bits that won't come off the car because they've just been on there too long or something. But and then just getting a bunch of tools and things too. So yeah, it's been a long road. It's not something you learn overnight, and you just go carefully and slowly, and always try to do, always try to pick something that's just a tad out of your wheelhouse and try that. If you haven't ever worked on a cooling system, but you got a radiator leak, well, dig into that. Don't take it to the shop. See what you can do. Worst that happens is you have to flatbed it to the shop.
Right.
It's maybe a tad embarrassing, but not the end of the world. So
Right.
chances are, really good chances are, you're going to be able to figure it out and you'll be
Right.
just fine.
Franny got
So.
some funny stories.
Yeah.
I remember a few years ago, we did a convertible top fix for the 993. And there was a couple of people like writing in kind of desperation because they got their tops stuck, halfway and they couldn't get it, and they're kind of panicked. And I mean, stuff like that happens.
Yeah,
they're digging into
yeah.
it, which is great, but then they have something goofy happen. And
Well, it's okay though. But
Right.
I talked the guy through it, and we managed to get his top down and get the
Right.
whole thing seated, and it worked out great in the end. And he was very happy that he got it done, and
Right.
it saved him a ton of money.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So it's I think it's always worth giving it a try. If anything was to go wrong with this thing over here, this I8 thing, I would definitely try to dig into that first. I know it sounds crazy, but I would. And then if it, like I said, if it went crazy and you couldn't figure it out, you
Right.
flatbed it to the repair shop and, lick your wounds and move on. So it's not the end of the world.
Right.
I don't think.
I know.
Yeah.
I have to lick my wounds all the time, like a parking brake the other day.
That's all right. What other questions do we have?
Sorry, I was just making sure. Tim asked something on Patreon.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And,
Oh, yeah.
He was talking about the bolt from the knuckle carrier to the.
Oh, yeah. The right words for the things. Yeah. So yeah, Tim, it was literally just that shock was missing.
Say the question. So. Oh wait, what's the?
Well, it's just what was missing on it.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, the thumbnail that we put up.
And I think I did have to take some bits apart on it. I did have to loosen it up, but I don't think I had to loosen the knuckles up, which was nice.
Right.
The shock sort of sits inside that whole assembly. And one of the bolts that holds on that upper A-arm actually is the bolt for the shock as well. So all that has to come out. And the funny thing is you can't get that bolt out until you take the one on the other side off. And that's that whole thing. If you saw the video, that the bolt is exactly the same length as the width of the distance between those two mounts. It's just it's a crazy design. So in order to get that big long bolt out, you have to take the short one out first, then pull the big long one. Now the upper A-arm's all wonky and the whole thing wants to sort of fall. You have to take the bolt down at the bottom, holding onto the shock, and then carefully work it out. And it was really tight, because even in the video, I think I had my plastic hammer, I was going ding, 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 trying to bang this thing into place because the bracket's really tight. So it was just a pain to get it back out, actually. So anyway, that's what was going on with that.
Okay, so somebody asked, what common issues do you see with your Ferrari and the Wizards?
Oh, I haven't watched much of the Wizard digging through that car. I have watched
You've been watching number 27.
number 27 work on his
Right.
influenza and Also,
we watched Radarosa too.
yeah, and then Scott working on both of his, because he has two 308s,
right.
a black one and the other one that he's converting, the red one.
Right.
I think red, right? So what common things do I have that went wrong? Well, okay, so let me shift that a little bit to the influenza then. That
right,
car.
since we haven't watched the Wizard.
Yeah, because I haven't watched the Wizard. Sorry, I haven't watched the Wizard that much actually, but for that car, he's got that thing's blowing oil really bad. At least that was his last video. He said that it's been blowing and fouling the plugs. And I find that interesting that
number 27.
Yeah, number 27. That all of his plugs are fouling. So if they're all going fouling,
saying that
yeah.
fast
Yeah, sorry.
times. Fouling.
It seems to me like then you'd have to have all your cylinders going bad at the same time. That seems funny. Does he have 4 of them out? Does he have 8 of them out? I need to contact him and sort of clarify and sort of understand exactly what's going on. But he thinks it might be a ring issue. You could tell a lot of that from a leak down test. It would tell you the things you need to know. So on our car, what we had was 2 bent exhaust valves on if you're looking at the back of the car, so the forward right bank all the way in the front there, those 2 exhaust valves were both bent. And if you pushed them up, they wouldn't come back down. They were bent at the top, not at the bottom. So it wasn't a strike from the cylinder. It was, the only thing I can think of is that the guides that they're running in had worn so badly that it kind of got a little bit jammed and a little cockeyed in there. And then when the cam came around, just put a slight bend in it.
Over revved or something.
That's another possibility.
Yeah.
It could have gotten over revved.
That was before we really, that was when we got the Ferrari.
Yeah.
So that was we bought it in late 2014. Yeah. So this is before we started the YouTube channel, and when we, Franny didn't really know that much about Ferraris at that point, and that's why we took it to a shop. And so, yeah, we weren't really digging into that part of it. So
yeah,
we just got updates and bills.
Yeah, we did at that point. But it's a common issue on these cars that the valve guides go bad after a bit of time.
We had every one of them replaced once we took it all apart.
So that's what we did, and that's probably where the influenza really needs that work as well.
Well, what year is his car?
His is a very early car, very early.
So does he have a sodium?
77.
Does he have
yes, he does have the sodium valves.
He's got sodium valves. So has he replaced the sodium and
he did on one of the cylinders? I thought he did, or one of the heads. So he had one of the heads off, but I don't think he did the other head. And so what we did was we went ahead and the shop went ahead and pulled the engine, and then we went ahead and pulled both of those heads off. It took quite a bit of work to get one of them off. It's a very long story, but QVs are really hard to get the heads off if they're stuck. And ours was stuck.
And this is a problem. I mean, this is a problem for a lot of Ferraris, not just the 308.
But we sent both of those heads, when we got the new one, we had to cut one off. Long story. But anyway, both heads went out to California to get reworked. We got almost all new valves, all new springs, and they completely went through both heads. And the car has been running perfectly ever since. So I don't know. I think that with these cars, trying to sort of pick off little problems here and there makes it really difficult. That if you've got a problem with one system like that, you got some bad valves, chances are you probably need to look at all of them. And so that's a common problem, definitely, that we have with the influenza. And what else did he?
Yeah, there definitely was issues.
Oh, his steering rack. Yeah, that's another thing.
Right.
He had a video on his steering rack, and so we've been working on that. We put a new one in.
Right.
Because I did talk to him about it, and I said, so that looked like it was kind of a pain in the butt. And he said, oh my God, I would never do that again. He said, just buy another one. This is stupid. It was ridiculous.
That's sort of like how you felt about the clutch slave cylinder on the turbo.
Yeah. So
that's
just replace it.
Else. Yeah.
These cars do have some common issues, but a lot of them are just due to flat out age. Like we had our brake booster go out, and so Lou Trottier, I finally can pronounce his last name. Trottier. Lou's channel is really fun as well if you're really interested in the 308s, and I watched a video where he pulled his master cylinder out and the booster out, and that booster it's an Italian version of a Bendix booster. So it's a Bendix Italiano. So it's got like some very specific parts in it. It's very hard to get it rebuilt. And he tested his, and his was fine, which is great. But I've heard from other people that those things go out. Other than that, I think the cars, once it's sorted, it's actually really a solid car. And many, many people have put well over 100,000 miles on these things, just use them all the time. Right. So they're good cars, and they drive well, and they're lots of fun. They just need to be sorted because most of them have been sitting on their butt for a million years.
Right.
Yeah.
That's this one has been now. Not a million years, but it's been sitting.
It's getting there.
For a time. So we have some other comments, and somebody asked if they're going to see any more airplane videos. That's from David.
Oh yeah, that would be fun. So we've had a few offers since the last video of pilots, and I would love to go. I love airplanes. Anything that flies.
Right.
Anything from a paper airplane to a bird to
we keep trying to get
anything.
Nick Murray to come out here, but he never does.
Yeah, Nick needs to fly out. So yeah, if you're on one of Nick's videos, go ahead and bug him and tell him to fly out here.
Come and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd be great.
It'd be great if he could just, get in the little airplane.
Yeah,
bring the dogs, and
I don't think he's soloed yet. He hasn't soloed. I don't think he has his.
That's his goal. Is that he really wants to come and see us in an airplane.
Yeah. He can bring the kids, so that'd be great. Yep.
So Norb says, I'm restoring my first 356. I watched all your 356 videos, several times.
Yay.
More 356 videos, please. Well, do you want to comment on that?
Well, we've got some coming up. Ava needs all 4 wheels pulled apart and the brakes done on all 4 wheels.
Yet again.
The rear left. Yeah, the rear left wheel is weeping again because the back plate is a little bit wet. And I want to take those brakes apart, take the back plates off, get those powder coated. I want to do it right this time because I did exactly what I told you not to do. I started picking away at this brake or that brake, and you just end up chasing it all over the car. And you come back, it kind of works, and you're like, I think I might have gotten it. But then 2 weeks later, something else is not right, and the system isn't whole yet. So I want to pull all 4 wheels, replace all the brake pads because they're contaminated and they're all kind of yucky. Probably replace the brake cylinders as well. I'm not sure about that. They may just need a good honing, but we'll take a look at that. I've got seals. I did replace the seals on the back wheels, but I probably should just replace all the seals as well. Just get that done with. The bearings look really good on the car, so I probably won't need to do that, but they do need a full cleaning and repacking and all that.
Right.
So a lot of work on the wheels. And then also...
It's actually kind of the next mini project car. It's the 356.
Yep.
So I think we'll definitely have at least several videos. I mean, like not just one. It'll be definitely a series.
Yeah, we also have the steering to work on as well.
Right.
So it's always stop, turn, go. So stop first,
Ava
turn
actually
next.
needs some new shoes
And
too.
she needs new tires. Yeah,
New tires.
she definitely needs new tires.
Right.
But the steering is just sort of, it's kind of, it's just stiff. And I don't know exactly why. I'm pretty certain it's the bushing that's in the steering column has just shrunk and sort of attached itself onto the steering column. But I don't know. I'm not certain exactly what that is. I'll try honing it and see if that fixes it. And if it does, then I probably should just replace that bushing. So I'll have to figure that out. I'm not sure what it is. I have looked at the steering box and it feels fine. Now, here's the thing. We were talking to our friend Keith about this earlier today, and he has a 356 as well with that same ZF box. And those ZF boxes were originally filled with oil, so like a really heavy 90 weight gear oil. And over time, the seals on the bottom of them would go bad, the oil would leak out, and people just put oil in it, they'd leak it all out, and blah, blah. So then they went ahead and packed them full of grease. And that's what's going on with ours. It's been packed full of grease. And I don't know if that's really the best way to go or not. I think that steering box probably does need a bit of a rebuild. So maybe I'll pull that out and take a look at that. And there's places you can send it off to get it remachined. It's not an uncommon box. It's just a ZF steering box, and I know that the Beatles used them as well later on, like in the 70s or so. So we'll have to see. But so that's that. I know the steering damper on it. I had replaced the steering damper. I should probably look at some of the other suspension components under there too. So anyway, front suspension and front steering on the car definitely needs to be looked at. The 356 is just a cornucopia of things that need to get done. We could pull the engine, try to get rid of some of the oil leaks.
Perfect, but maybe not.
She is perfect. She's practically perfect.
Practically perfect in every way.
Exactly.
Mary Poppins,
Yes,
right?
yes.
So start calling her Mary Poppins instead of Ava.
I think I'll pull the engine on the car because it literally takes about half an hour to do it. And the thing that slows you down is taking the exhaust system apart.
Yeah.
Other than that, we'll pull the engine out, throw it up on the stand, and start working on some of the oil leaks. The 58s were really notorious for oil leaks around this. This thermostat on it, an oil thermostat, which Porsche put on to try and get the car to warm up faster. So it's similar. It's the same concept as a thermostat in your liquid cooling system. But that thing's sort of a nodule on the sort of side front of the end or back of the engine, and it leaks. And so I'd like to pull that thing off, reseal it, and put it back on.
Recall item?
No, there's no recall on it. It's
thermostat.
1958.
No.
No.
There's some thermostat thing that most 356s don't have, and ours still has it.
That's it. Yep. They got rid of it the next year.
Oh.
Yeah, they got rid of it because it didn't really do what they wanted it to do, and it leaks, so it's a mess.
Somebody actually asked about our engine stand too, and they want to know what brand it was, and we have a little story about that engine stand that we used for the 911, and we were a little bit worried about it because it really is I would say a 356 engine stand and not a 911, which 911s weigh a lot more. But we belonged to the 356 club for several years when we first got our 356. And so we have a lot of local friends here, and they found out that one of the guys found out that we were looking for a way to, for an engine stand, because we were looking at all these other engine stands that were new, and we're just like, nah, I don't know if I want that one. And so he said, I'm getting rid of my tools. I'm not going to be working on cars anymore. And he gave us a phone call, and that's when we got that engine stand. And I have no idea what brand it is, but it's kind of special to us because, it's got a long history. He said that he rebuilt probably, I don't know how many 356s, several 356s and several 911s too with it.
So can I interrupt you just for a second to move a little to your left, because the camera keeps running in and out on focus for some reason, and I think it's because it's I think it needs to see more of us and less of the car behind us. I think that's it. So sorry about that. I can see it going meow meow meow. It's driving me nuts.
Sorry.
Any rate, so let me go on about that engine stand. So it's two pieces. It's the yoke that attaches to the back of the engine, which has a big shaft on it. And then it slides into the actual engine. I guess it's just a carrier for it. And it's a T configuration. So 2 wheels and then a long snout that goes out. You've seen it on the videos, and then a single wheel up in the front. So it only has 3 wheels. And that engine out of this car, well, not this one, but the one that's up here, the 3.2, probably weighs close to 300 pounds. Probably it varies depending on what you've still got attached to it. But
I was gonna say I thought it was more. But
it might be a little bit more.
Maybe like 700, right?
I don't know. I don't think it's quite that much. But anyway, it's reasonably heavy because the stand is rated at 700 pounds, and I think we were somewhere around 450, something like that.
Right.
At any rate, what I don't like about that stand is that sort of just the 3 wheels on it. It really needs another crossbar in the front with 4 wheels, because there was one point when I was moving it that the wheels sort of locked a little bit, and the whole thing started to kind of tip off into a corner. I was like, no, and I was able to push it down and set it back down again. But that's an awful lot of weight, and if it got just far enough, you would never be able to recover from it.
Especially if you're
So,
by yourself. And
yeah.
so your advice is that maybe the engine stand that we have is not the
Yeah,
best because of it, the way the wheels are.
I think it's fine for a Beetle. It's fine for a 356 because those
Right.
engines aren't that heavy.
Right.
But
For a 911.
for a 911, it wasn't so much that it couldn't handle the weight. It seemed totally
We
sturdy
had it
enough. It
supported.
just
though.
wasn't stable enough.
We didn't trust it, so we had it like resting on.
Yeah, I did.
We just
But after a while, I was fine with it. But it did kind of go gyre. It would bounce up and down a little bit. And so the whole thing just kind of gave me the heebie-jeebies. I just thought it was not quite up
So
to the
whoever
task.
asked that question, maybe you look for something newer, more modern, and better.
And one with four
Right.
wheels on it. That's
Right.
the important bit, to have that crossbar in the front, crossbar in the back, and then that way it's not going to go off into
And
a
read
corner.
the reviews.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I do with a lot of stuff.
Yep.
It's still focusing in and out.
Is it? I don't know why it's doing that so much.
Sorry about
I
that,
don't know.
guys. It just does it every now and then. I don't
Yeah,
know
it's
if
kind
something's
of
trying to-
driving. Can you move a little more to your
Is
left?
it? I think it's my glasses. I'll just take my glasses off.
Oh, okay. You want to move a little to your left, and I'll be a little more centered.
I'm as far over as I can get.
Oh, you are. Okay. Okay.
So maybe it was my glasses. I don't
So
know.
anyway, yeah. So the engine stand it did work, but I had to be really careful with it, and I wouldn't advise using that engine stand on a 911 engine again. Certainly nothing bigger than that. The 3.2 Carrera engine is probably the lightest of those. I don't know, maybe like an earlier car might be a little bit lighter, but certainly if you pulled a 964 or 993 engine and
Or
put it on a
a
thing,
996.
it's super scary on there. I don't know if a 996 would fit on there.
Yeah.
I don't think I would totally not do
No,
that.
I can't.
Yeah.
anymore.
So, all right. Well, there's Keith. Yeah. So
Yeah.
Keith's on
Hey,
here,
Keith.
and
He's the one we were just talking about.
yeah, we were just
Talking
talking
about the steering box. Yep.
Yeah, he was asking about the steering box. Keith, yeah. So, yeah, well, I think we might end up pulling it just because I think it needs to be looked at really carefully. You know, the funny thing about the 356, and you guys let me know if you think the same way, but that car, I'm kind of hesitant to take things apart on it because I'm afraid, one, those parts are super expensive and old, and they're just old. And you go fussing with it and just tearing stuff apart, things break, and they go
Sometimes
together.
You can't find. parts for
The
it.
exact right seal for it. So if you just stuck a screwdriver in there and kind of went at it, you could really cause a mess. And I've seen that on so many cars. So I'm usually a little hesitant to just
She sees
dig
stuff on
into
YouTube
stuff.
channel and she's like, wrong tool.
Yeah, well, I
yeah.
kind of worry about that
Right.
as far as taking things apart on that car sometimes, because you never know what you're going to get into and whether you can make it better. And that's the whole point, right? The only reason you're taking it apart is to make it better. So, at any rate, but I think it will with that steering box. I think it needs to come apart. What you got?
So William Brewster said, have you considered a complete restoration as a project for many videos? Well, we did just do the 911. I mean, that is lots
That's
of
pretty
video. I
complete.
think we got almost 30 videos out of that
Yeah.
project. So, but yeah, I mean, as far as, going out, buying a car and doing that, not anytime in the near future that I know of. We still have enough stuff to work on here for a while.
Yeah. Well, we
That's the
did.
thing about having 6 cars is there's always things to fix.
And we did
you're
consider that, right?
it's still doing that.
I know, it's still doing that. It's driving me
Sorry.
nuts. Well, we did consider that actually. We were going to go. We were going to get an E36 like BMW and go
We
after
were,
that.
yep.
And we kind of nicked that just because I didn't know if there would be enough interest in it or not. And I don't really know that much about BMWs, certainly older BMWs.
Yeah.
But it would be kind of a fun project. I don't know. It's not off the table certainly, but the right car has to come along. We're a little picky about what
Right.
we'd have to sell one of the cars to do it. So we would have to get rid of the 3.2 Carrera.
Either that or
probably.
find a home for our, like a garage to store one of our
Yeah,
cars
because
in.
we just don't physically have the room for one.
Right.
So we'd either have to get rid of one of the cars or we'd have to find a home
Right.
for it, and that could be expensive and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know.
Yep.
We'll try to figure it out.
What about running a Porsche on vegetable oil? We had a friend do that with a Mercedes. He actually converted Dave Rowley. He converted.
did?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Really?
he did for a while. It was like an old, I don't know what it was, but no, we've never thought about doing that. But one of our friends, I think it was kind of hard trying to find vegetable oil to run it off of. So I don't know if he kept that car or not, but going to fast food places, or maybe he said he
Oh,
couldn't do
that's
that, or
right.
I don't know.
Oh, yeah,
It
you hit them
sort
up
of-
for their grease traps.
yeah, or something. I don't know. Yeah, we had a friend do that, but yeah, we've not done.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sounds like we want to make cars smell like French fries, or I don't know. It's so okay. So Dave Parzik said, "I wish I could send you my Beck 550 Spider. It's not running
on all four.
four.
Oh no.
So Dave, David, sorry, not Dave, David, have you watched any of the 550 Spider? I'm sure that's how you found the channel, so you probably watched them all.
Mhm.
It's Volkswagen. So
Well, let me know. Hit me up.
Yeah.
Send me a message or
always,
something.
if you guys
Send me
have
an email. Questions. Send me an email.
just contact us at Heidi and Franny's Garage.
Yeah,
It's
and
our
just
website.
let me know. Say, watch the live stream, and you were talking about the 550 Spider. Let me know what you're seeing in the car, and maybe we can work it out and figure
Yeah.
out what's going on with that. Because
Mhm.
they're pretty straightforward, but that doesn't mean they'll always run correctly.
Yeah, like
but
Mike's needed new heads, or not. He needed something.
they needed the heads reworked.
Right.
The valves were about to let go. The
Yeah,
little
so that
keepers
could
were
be.
about
I
to
mean, like
let
if
go.
something like that's gonna happen to yours, you don't know. Yeah, you should probably get in there and check it out.
There's
So,
ways you can diagnose what's
leak
going
down
on.
tests and
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yep.
And those Franny has some good tools for that. That they're not very expensive and available on
Mhm.
Amazon. Or some other. Maybe Harbor Freight has them. I don't know if Harbor Freight does.
Well,
but-
those are kind of junk. You actually do want to spend the money. That's a tool you want to spend
right,
money on
right.
to get a good
I
one.
actually wish
They're not
that
too
we had
expensive.
bought leak down tests and compression tests before we bought any of our used
Mhm,
vehicles,
mhm.
because to me, next time we go and like test drive a used vehicle, I would really like to have those with us.
Well, and
And-
I would add to that
yeah.
the
The
Picoscope.
Picoscope as well. That's true.
Because you can run sort of this virtual compression test just by literally clamping onto your battery cable
Right.
and then setting the engine up so it won't start, but it'll crank over. And you can see on the graph, and if it's a 4-cylinder, for instance, and you've got 3 that are good and strong, and one of them's dropping out, 3 that are good and strong, one of them's dropping out, you've got a bad cylinder. Or maybe it's much higher than the others because that cylinder doesn't have nearly as much compression. So it's just much easier for it to run. So there's higher current, whatever. And you can test a lot of things with those things. And
We're selling you on something for Christmas time, but unfortunately about the Picoscope right now is that they're really hard to come by, right?
they kind of are, but
the
they
UK or something.
they came out with a new
Right.
version of it.
So yeah, go ahead.
So mine's a little 2-channel scope, 2200 I think or something. But I think they came out with a newer version of it, which has a little better. I think it has a little better range, I think, on it, and so it should give you a little sharper graph. We'll see, but I love mine. It works great. I've got a couple of fairly inexpensive probes for it, and I actually even bought a laptop for it, which was like $250 or something.
Refurbished.
Yeah, refurbished cheapy
yeah.
laptop.
Yeah, that's fine.
And it works as my garage laptop as well, so I can keep photos on it. And I think you've seen it like in the last videos or something, like when I've been working
Where
on
is
it.
it? I don't see it right now.
It's downstairs,
Okay.
but
She stole it.
but I'll put it up with all my photos and things next
Right.
to whatever I'm working on, and that works. That's awesome. I got a big screen. I'm not looking on my little phone or something trying to zoom in on something and greasy fingers and stuff. I've got that nice screen. So that whole thing, probably I spent maybe $500 on all of that, which sounds like kind of a lot.
It is
but
kind of a lot, but when you figure out all,
Yeah.
I mean, depending on if you're really interested in working on cars and stuff like that,
yeah.
the more
It's a
you
great
can learn
tool.
about those, the better,
So yeah,
definitely.
so we'll shoot me a message on your 550 and let's see if we can't get all 4
Right.
humming away on it.
Right.
Should.
We got Mac
or at least we
Daddy
can find
on.
out
We
what's
have
going
some
on.
other people that have joined us. Hi Mac Daddy, and yeah, Amir said, love your show. I have a 1998 993 white cab
Oh.
that leaks from the timing chain gaskets.
Ah,
When do you expect to work on your 993?
great question. That's a great question because I have it's not out here, but I do have a kit for that actually. That's another thing that we wanted to do was get those.
This is
Ours
news
is
to
doing
me.
the same thing.
I do all the parts ordering. Is this something I
Yeah,
ordered?
we ordered it a while back. And one of the parts
I
was
don't even
threw it in.
remember what we ordered.
Snuck it in under the radar.
Franny will tell me parts
Yep.
to order and all. Yeah.
So the chain covers on our car are leaking as well, mostly on the left side. The right side is
Right.
weeping, but not really bad. But the left one.
So
anyway,
thanks for reminding
yeah.
us, because we're like, what other projects can we do while we're waiting on these parts? So there you go.
Yeah.
You got another one.
Well, the Ferrari, I'd love to just sort of cook away on the same car for a while. It's not really practical, but I'd like to, and so I'd always try to do that. You know, let's just continue
2
on
or
with the
3
Ferrari so
or
that people
videos.
aren't all thrashed back and forth between this car and that
Wish we
car.
could. Yeah.
But this weekend, I've got the new parts for Heidi's 996. So I'll definitely do a video on that. We've got a bunch of bits to put back on that car. And also, maybe I'll try to get to that 993. But that's definitely in the hopper, and we have the parts for it. So that's a good thing. So we'll definitely get that done, because that car, weirdly, is the only 911 that leaks. This one right here. Poor thing. So we'll get that sorted. But I don't think it's going to be that hard. I'm wondering about access and how to get that off. Jacob from 911%, he did his, so I might hit him up and say, did you have any issues with it? Blah blah blah. His is a 4S. I think this is a 1998 4S.
Yep.
And so I'll hit him up and see if he had any issues or anything with it. But it's probably just a matter of taking a bit of tin off and a few other bits and get that cover off.
Craig Randall asks, Franny, do you have any affection for BMW 2002s? Never heard you mention them. I've owned 2 up here in Boulder. Well, Craig, it just so happens that our friend Brian owns like 7 or 8.
Does he really?
Yeah, and he's got them all in a garage, and I kind of wanted to do a garage preview. He lives closer to Loveland, and I need to hit him up, and maybe we'll go and visit. But yeah, he actually races them, and I thought it would be fun. I don't know if I'm sure he'd be fine about being on camera, but yeah, we'd like to pay him a visit one of these days, and he's been there for a few years, and I still haven't visited his shop, but maybe someday.
And to answer your question about it, I think they're adorable.
Yeah,
they're
we like them.
Really cool.
Why we haven't had one ourselves? I mean, we just, as you know.
So that would be a car I'd be interested in rebuilding from the ground up. I really would. That would be super fun.
Right.
Because I just like them.
We do need to get another BMW. I mean, we have a BMW, this one. This is a much more modern.
Most people would not consider that to be a BMW.
I know there's people that would
so
just growl about it. There's people that'll growl.
Yeah, we do have growlage.
Growlage.
We have growlage.
People are like snarling.
We do have some snarling.
We had, yeah.
Yeah, we had some snarlage and growlage. So I don't know if you consider the i8 to be a BMW proper, but it has the roundel on it, but that's about it.
Right.
But no, the 20, I call them 2002s, and everybody corrects me. I've always called them 20. Because when you say a 2002 BMW, I'm like, what? M3? What are you talking? So that's why I always call them 2002, so you know what it is. Anyway, I think they're adorable, and I love the older BMWs as well, like the Bavarias and all those older cars. Oh, they're just gorgeous.
So Axis Power Diesel said, how is the 930 running these days? And I think Axis, if I'm not mistaken, you may be asking about the 3.2 Carrera. I would assume that's probably year timing wise. It's not a 930.
Yeah, I wish we had a 930,
but we don't have a 930.
But that's okay. So
yeah.
that's a great question about the 3.2.
Right? It's running well.
So we did have a few lingering issues. Remember that surging that was going on with it? It would speed up, and what it's doing is it's speeding up to a point about 12 or 1300 RPM, to where the computer says, whoa, that's too fast. And it literally shuts off the fuel injection. The RPMs drop back down, and it's like, oh, I can turn it back on, and it does. And that's where the surging comes from. And it's still about the base idle being set properly, so that's within parameters, so that it'll operate properly, and that the computer can control it from there. If the base idle is off far enough, for whatever reason, it could be that it can even be because you have bad plugs or bad injectors, all sorts of things. The base idle is outside of the range that the computer can control for whatever reason. Well, I think
you had some of those graphs on the
I did.
videos, so you could go watch them if you want to see
I
some
did.
of the videos of what she's talking about.
So our friend Doug and Heidi also went to one of the Porsche events, and they took
the largest Porsche gathering
the largest
in the
Porsche
state.
gathering.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they took the two white cars, the two 911s,
Right.
and when Doug came back, that the 3.2 Carrera was surging again. And
I was like, so poor Doug. I was like so happy that Doug was driving that car and not me. It was like he must have been dealing with.
But it's best to get it in the place where it's surging. So it has to get
Franny
hot.
had a chance to actually
to
troubleshoot it after it had happened to him.
So I went ahead and adjusted the idle a little bit more and got it back closer to where it really needs to be. And it stopped surging and everything was fine. But I thought, what's it going to do when it's cold? Because that's the other opposite end of the spectrum for the thing. And I've driven the car several times since then and not had a single problem. So I think I've finally got it dialed in. Surprising how fussy that was. But somebody had gotten it so far off the mark. Then we took it down to Store's Garage. And they like to run the idle a little bit higher, and I think that's kind of what caused the problem. So I had to back it back down a little bit, and then it was fine. So it's been great.
Right.
We did get the little latch for the rear deck lid replated. I think it showed that in one of the videos,
Right.
and I reinstalled that. That was one of the things they lost a couple of washers on, which was a bummer. I was able to find some other washers, which worked, but I got that installed. I did film a little bit of that, so I'll throw that in one of the videos. It's not enough to do a video on, but I do have the footage from it, so I did film it.
Right.
So that looks great. The rest of the car seems fine. Oh, another thing was that when you filled it up with gas, it would smell a little like gas when you drove home. It wasn't that bad, but it was just annoying enough. So I went and took a look at the vents, because the actual fuel lines have all been replaced, so it can't be them. So I thought, well, it's got to be one of the vents. And if it's just when you fill it up, it's probably just sloshing around a bit and getting into one of those vents and the vent tubes. And I think probably one of the tubes was cracked. And sure enough, I found one that was in really bad shape. So I was able to replace that. And last time I took it down to get gas, it didn't have any smell at all. So that part has been solved. Seats are super comfortable because they're new. Car looks great.
You do that with a Ferrari seats.
Yeah. And it's definitely got more power than it did before. I'd say almost like 15 to 20% more power.
We got a lot more videos coming up for the Ferrari. We actually do. I mean, as soon as we can get through all the parts and stuff.
But the 3.2 Carrera, when it takes off, it should sort of snap a little bit. And then when it gets up on the cams at about 33, 3,400 RPM, maybe somewhere around in there, 35, you should definitely feel it hit again. It's kind of like that VTEC thing. It definitely feels feels different when you get it up on the cams. And now the car is reacting like that. You can definitely tell it. So I think the injectors were dirty, and there were enough things with the car that are just a little tired and old that it's really running well now. So I'm really happy with it.
Okay, so we have a couple more people that joined us. Ed Lawrence is on. Ed, hey, how's it going? And
Hi,
we
Ed.
have Bill Whitlash and Jonathan Magnus. He's on as well. Hey, Jonathan. Buick Boy 92 asks, how are the cats? And
Well, why don't you answer that, honey?
yeah, sure. So cats are doing well. I actually have the cat channel now. I don't know if some of you might know about Ozzy and Zeke's channel, but it's just called Ozzy and Zeke. And I think we've had links, but we certainly can include a link in this video so that you can check it out. But yeah, they are 2.5 years old now. They're definitely ruling the house. They let us know when it's time to eat. I think they're definitely the kings of the household at this point. They're not even princes anymore. I think they're kings.
Yep.
At this point.
Well, Zeke last night came over at 5 o'clock in the morning and plopped down next to me and demanded to get his head rubbed.
Oh, really? That's a very Maine Coon.
Well, when 23 pounds sack of potatoes flops down next to you, the whole bed moves.
Yeah,
so
he does move the bed.
He's a very big, heavy cat, and he starts purring. He does his lion purr, so he purrs when he breathes out. So he just
Right.
And it's a little frightening at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Somebody brought their little chihuahua over once, and Zeke's like this big, and their chihuahua's like this big, and I was just like, that is not right. Something about that just isn't right.
Oh, but Zeke was
Right.
a perfect gentleman.
He was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
the kitties are doing well.
Yeah.
They're very different too.
Yeah,
Ozzy
they
and
are.
Zeke are very different kitties from one another, but
right.
they're a little bummed because they don't get to go out nearly as much anymore.
Yeah, I
the
mean, the
weather's
summer
changed.
months are just the very exciting times for them. So we
Mhm.
always try to get them out at least after work. We'll go out, and so now after work it's dark,
Yeah.
and it's a bit of a bummer. So sometimes we can take them out at lunchtime, but a lot of times it's just too cold for us to be standing there, and so we let them out on our balcony, and that's kind of their outdoor experience. But that's about it. Yeah, but they're doing really
They're
well.
doing well.
Yeah, I
Yay.
think they've settled
Thanks
in
for
nicely.
asking us.
Yeah.
Very sweet. Yeah.
Definitely. Okay. So, yes, 308 content and happy Thanksgiving, Columbus, Ohio, from Brian. What would you like?
This one up here. What's this?
Thank you for all the great videos. We appreciate you both. We really enjoy all the 308 content as a 308 GTR owner.
GT4.
Sorry, GT4 owner with projects ahead. That's
Oh,
from
neat.
SL Till and yes.
So how do you like your GT4? That seems like a really interesting car, really cool car. So I've always wondered about that. We saw a 208 GT4. That's got to be a rare beast. We saw one at one of the Ferrari events, and it pulled in, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
And 208 is a rare beast, so it was really interesting. So it's still an 8-cylinder, but it's a teeny little like 2-liter 8-cylinder. It's really
Those are
something.
ridiculously expensive ones.
No, they're not
No,
too,
I'm
but
thinking of something else that looks
they've
like a
become pretty
308.
popular, which is really great. No, the
Yeah.
GT4 is the car before, so yeah.
Right.
So yeah, that's a really interesting car and a neat interior, just a really different
Mhm.
look and great car. So that's awesome. So yay.
So I have to keep putting my glasses back on. Okay, so David asked if you can send the link to the Picoscope. Yeah, that might be a little bit of a problem, right? Or finding the or the newer ones. Maybe you could send them a link.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I'll have to find where I bought it from because I didn't think I got it off of Amazon.
You did.
I did?
Yeah.
Okay, well we'll
Yeah, we did.
we'll take a look and see if we can find a
Okay.
good link for it because a bunch of people have told me, oh, they're not available, and I didn't
Right.
think they come and go because they're from England, and I guess I don't know, maybe not enough.
Oh, we've got
Demand
some
for
other
them?
people saying hello. Paco Cervantes is from Cancun. He said hello.
Oh wow,
And Jonathan Magnus asked how that 3.2 Carrera is doing.
good. So I just
Yeah.
covered that. I
Yeah.
hope that's okay.
And G. Lehman said, any tips on clock removal for the 356C, and that you are the best, Franny.
Oh, clock removal. So your clock is in the center of the center of the dash, I guess. Between the ashtray and the vents up there. So I don't know how to get one of those out. Actually, I'd have to kind of see it. My guess is that it's probably not pressed in, is it? It probably has a bracket in the back to hold it on, unlike the 911 gauges that just sort of, you can just pull them out. In fact, I think all the 356 gauges are like that. We pulled the speedometer out.
We did. We had to do both the odometer and the speedometer.
Oh, did
and
we? Yeah. So they're held in.
I can't remember.
You know
It's
what?
been a while since we did those.
My suggestion would be to take your phone and take a picture of it and then take a look at it and take a picture of it the best you can from different angles from the back. Because a lot of times it's impossible to get your head up there and get light up there. You can't really see what you're doing, but you can get a small camera up there or a little point and shoot, anything that you've got that you can get up in there and take some pictures of it.
This number.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. And you're reaching
Right.
up underneath the dash
Right.
there and you're taking pictures of it. And turn on the flash and see if you can get some good images of it.
There's like those little cameras that you can buy
Yeah.
too. That,
Well, yeah,
those
like
little
a
diagnostic
endoscope camera
yeah,
or whatever.
Right.
Those things, I don't know, unless you get a really good one, the resolution isn't so great.
Right.
But your phone
So-
works really well for that sort of stuff if you can get it up there.
But
Gosh,
yeah,
it's
most
gotta be a
phones
bracket
take
on
great
it.
video now, and the
Yeah.
cool thing, at least as far as like I have the cat channel, and most of my video comes from the phone because I don't have time to get a camera set up when the cats
Mhm.
are doing something cute. And the other cool thing about the phone is that they have really good low light. So if you're
Mhm.
having to put your phone up to try to see the back of something and you can't really get a light up in there, you might be surprised at how good the phone is for low light.
Yeah, they do really well. So that's another thing. And maybe don't take just pictures, take some video.
Yeah.
And you can move it around and then you could stop the video and go, whoa, whoa, whoa. Because I do that a lot. And the video can be really, really helpful, and you can stop on a frame or just move through it very slowly. And you'd be surprised. Oh, I couldn't, because I took with the 3.2 Carrera, I took over 900 photos when I pulled that engine out of all the different things. And so many times I was like, I just need a picture of this, but I didn't really have that. But I was like, oh, that's right. I had the video. So I would go through the video and just stop on it. And I was like, that's it. That's what I'm looking for. And easier to get context with it as well. So.
Well, I think we've answered all of the questions, unless there's any more that came through. Or did you have one on your phone from the community
No, that
page?
was
Or
pretty
did we
much
get
it. Yeah, that was pretty much it.
We didn't want to keep everybody too long. It's the night before Thanksgiving. Many of you might be cleaning the house or getting ready, and so we just thought we would say hey and keep this short. And
well, we got a couple more here. So let's see. David Payne, working on a 72 Beetle now after not having one in 30 years.
cool.
My first car was a 72 Super Beetle. Been learning a lot from y'all. Oh, that's
Cool.
great. My first Beetle was a 72 Super Beetle as well, and I love that car. Boy, went all over. So I grew up down in Naples, Florida, and I would drive all the way up to Gainesville to go to school, and lots of time driving that car back and forth late at night up and down the interstate with that thing, and it was a great car.
Right.
It really was. I love that thing.
James Tharp. James,
Hi,
how are you,
James.
James? He and Renata loved the visit. Yes, we loved
Yes.
having you.
Yep.
And he liked the ride in Miss Ava. So.
Aw. Oh yeah. So yeah, James stopped by.
That doesn't always happen with patrons. We don't always have time to take people for a ride, but that night actually worked
And
out.
the weather was perfect,
Right.
and it just worked out. So
Sometimes it's too cold or too crappy.
and you took Renata out.
Yeah, she went out in the I-8.
Yeah.
Yep.
And
Yep.
she liked that car, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a great time.
So that was really fun.
Yeah.
We had a great time. So thanks so much for stopping by. That was so nice to meet you, and just
Right.
really fun to hang out. So that was great.
So Randy Chen said, thanks again for the 993 convertible breakdown. And Albert Bioni said, hello. This is great. It's great hearing from him. And then Ren, Ren, I'm not sure how to say he said, happy Thanksgiving. And I am going to not say your last name. That's an interesting last name.
Hoey?
Yeah. Is that how you say it? I don't know.
I don't know. Is that close? I don't
Yeah.
know. So David, yep. We'll try to do more of these live streams. I had been so focused on doing the actual videos, and then I hate to do it just because we were having problems, but I thought
Other YouTubers do it though too. A lot of times they can't get content out, and they'll have a live stream.
yeah,
So,
and I think you need to connect and let people know.
It is.
And
It's nice.
I felt bad because we just had such a string of bad things going on with
right.
parts and stuff that I thought, you know what? I think we need to let the folks know what's going on.
Right.
So,
Sorry, my glasses are on again, and I see the camera pushing focus again.
oh, is it? You think that's what it is?
I
Huh?
think it is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. So I think that's pretty much it. I think we'll wrap it up. Call it a wrap. It's been
308 Resto thinking about doing a similar job on your 87 Mondale. So that's Susan Nero. Yeah. So an 87 Mondale. So that's a nice car too. That's a lot of fun. I've seen
a lot
a
of
couple of
similarities between it and the 308. Isn't
Yeah,
there?
yeah.
Very,
Oh yeah, the
So-
engine basically the same. Well,
Yeah.
it's actually an 87. That's a 328 engine. So yeah, that's really nice. So great. So you're doing similar jobs on your Mondale. Wow. So are you working on the suspension as well and all that sort of stuff? Because it's funny. This is kind of an interesting thing. The 308 manual. So if you want to get the manual for the 308, there's a one for the older cars. But if you want the manual for the QVs, the later cars, So 83, 84, 85. You'll when you take a look at it, you'll see that there's like several big sections are missing out of it. Lots of stuff. They only have like out of like I think it's like maybe 10 different sections, only like 3. And you're like, wait a minute. And they're just missing. So the trick is to go to the Mondeo and look at that one, and there's where your missing sections are. So that's common between the cars, and what they put in the QV manual was just, I keep looking up the car.
It's going to answer some questions.
Yeah, cars, it's got a lot to answer for that one.
Yeah.
At any rate, so yeah, so the that's if you're looking for the bits that are missing out of the 308 manual, that's where they are. So, and what they've got in the 308 manual will be stuff that's specific to the 308, like the body panels and all that sort of stuff. That's obviously
I
different.
don't think it is my glasses that are pushing.
No?
I think it's the lights that you have shining.
Oh, yeah, it might be. It's hard to say. Yeah, so
I'm not going to blame
that's
my
the thing.
glasses
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah. So not the suspension, just doing stuff out, gear adjustment, cold start issues. Oh, okay. You know, another thing that we're going to be doing on the 308 coming up when we get the suspension finished is the shift rod seals are bad on that. And it's been weeping a bit of transmission fluid out of those seals. And it's a pain. We do have the seals. We got all the parts for it, and we have all the gaskets and stuff, but we have to take both of those big plates off the bottom of it, the sump covers off the bottom. That there's actually 2 gaskets or 2 seals in there, not gaskets, but 2 seals. And it's funny because the shaft actually goes through the engine to get to the transmission. And that's just kind of the way it works. So you've got an oil seal and you've got a transmission seal. And if the one in the center goes bad, generally what happens is your transmission overflows with engine oil, and that's bad. So I think the only seal that's bad is the one on the outside. That's at least the only one we see, but it's a bit of a pain in the butt to do, but I'll definitely do it. I was going to actually like, you've got the parts, why not do that? I was going to, and I looked at it back there, and I've got the jack stands sitting in the wrong place. They're like really close to it. And so I can't really get to it easily. I have to kind of contort my arms and stuff to get up there. And I thought, this is dumb. Once it's on all fours, I could have the whole bottom clear. So it's just one of these things. So we need to get that sorted. So anyway, but that's one of the things I need to do on the car. The rest of it, if you've got cold start issues on the car, we had the warm-up regulator rebuilt. There's a place I think it's in like South Carolina, North Carolina, somewhere back east that will rebuild those warm-up regulators, and they're specific to the car. Yeah, we did. So they're specific to the car. It's a Bosch fuel injection system, and you think, well, a warm-up regulator, can't I get one off of one of the 8-cylinder Mercedes or maybe even one of the 911s? They all use basically the same fuel injection system. No, of course not, because Ferrari, I guess, but whatever. At any rate, it's reasonably specific to the car, so just send it off. They can do a complete rebuild on it. It'll come back looking absolutely brand new. I think it was like $285, something like that, and that was money well spent because
I honestly don't remember.
You don't remember this? I do. Because,
I probably have some receipt somewhere, but I just don't remember it, which is weird because normally I do most of the.
Yeah.
Well,
we definitely.
Maybe you did it.
No, we got it done when we had the engine work done.
I don't remember.
Yeah, at the shop. So anyway, yeah, that was money well spent because those parts they've got a little heating element in them, and I guess those kind of burn up and don't work properly. That's a bimetallic strip in there and the heating element thing, that sort of vibe. And so definitely something you want to send off if you're having those sorts of issues. Cold start injector is another thing on those cars if it's dirty or whatever. Ours really starts up pretty easily. It's very consistent in the way it starts.
Right.
Hot and cold. Cold, or when it's hot, it's weird to start. You actually have to give it some gas. When it's cold, you don't. That seems weird, but it's kind of the opposite of what it would be if it was a carburetor.
It's an easy one to flood if you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, you can kind of mess it up. But
right.
But it seems to start up really easily and very consistently on this about the same time every time when you go to hit the key. And when it's set up properly, it should be super consistent and just super easy to deal with and super simple. So I guess that's that. So
That's pretty much it.
I'm actually Bob and Judy's daughter. Oh,
Oh,
hi, Ren. Oh, neat.
great.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah. We heard
Yeah.
you guys are having a big, I talked to Jerry Medina the other day, and he said you guys are having a big, that Bob's having a big family gathering tomorrow.
Oh,
So,
that's
it's nice.
great.
So you
Oh,
must
that's
be
great.
here. So are you watching with Bob right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Oh, that's great.
cool.
Oh, that's good.
Great.
That's good. Yeah, we need to kind of get back
Yeah,
with
we're
those
supposed
folks
to
a
have
bit.
Bob over for dinner.
Yeah, we are supposed to. So.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we don't want to keep
Yeah.
you too much. I think we've kind of answered all the questions. Unless there's
Right.
anything else you can think of, I can't think of much else.
Nothing more to talk about, really.
Yeah, because we just have, we
It's
just
going
have
into cold weather time, which is no fun.
bags of parts here for the Ferrari to get,
Yeah.
to get put in. It's all still organized. It's all sitting like thing over here. So, God, we'll get to it. So hopefully those shocks, a little recap. Hopefully the shocks will get in next week or two. Try
I'll
to
be
get
bugging
the
him if not. Yeah.
probably get the 996 bits.
Yeah.
Put in the
Is that the
996
new
this
one or
weekend.
the old one?
That's the
Two.
one that needs to go back. Actually, that's the wrong
Right.
side. Get to the 993 and get to the 356.
Yeah.
So I think we'll do that.
Well, happy Thanksgiving to everybody here that celebrates Thanksgiving. And if you're not celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope you guys have a great rest of your week and enjoy the holidays. The upcoming holidays are coming up, and we probably will do a live stream around Christmas time, I would imagine.
Yeah,
So-
we will do that. That'd be fun towards the end of December or something.
Yeah.
Just to wish everyone a happy holidays and sort of the end of the year kind of thing. And
It's usually super cold there, so we're like usually, rather have a nice live stream.
yeah, because it gets kind of cold, and working in the garage, I've got the heater.
It's so much better than it used to be.
Yeah.
We have, this serious heater that we had hooked up, and it's so much better now.
And then the ceiling fan running as
Yeah.
well to push the warm
Push
air
the
down.
hot air
And
down.
so it works great. But so it's a lot nicer to work in the garage in the winter. But it gets cold. It gets super cold. So all right. Okay, well everybody, have a great rest of your evening, day, morning, wherever you are.
And thanks for the super chat.
Yes, thank you so much.
So much.
And look for a video coming out soon. We'll get something out to you very soon.
Right.
So all right. Well,
Bye.
have a great evening, day, I guess, or
right. Day if you're, in Australia, and night if you're, there's some people here from Turkey at 4 a.m. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
4 a.m. So have a great day, I
Right.
suppose. Yeah.
Yep. Take care.
All right. Well, take care.